All right, 2 days from Selection Sunday. Welcome back in. Gary and Matt with Jimmy. 1620 The Zone, the TV, everywhere you can get us. We get on Bracketville and in person every Friday. It's going to be so sad when we do not have another Friday with Tim Krueger. We'll get you back on Monday, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, Friday would probably be too late next week.
Let me tell you about what I had in my bracket, and Thursday they were off.
Brother, the show Friday is just going to be us just watching about 6 games. Well, actually, they won't be on, but regardless of fact, just breaking down everything from what happened.
Nice try. I was going to say, well, they changed the schedule.
Yeah, that'd be nice if they started tipping off at 7 o'clock.
Well, when we expand to 76 teams, I'm sure we'll be playing at 6 a.m. All right, let me first hit you with this. Omaha, solid 15?
Yeah, because there's going to be more upsets, I assume.
Okay, we're rooting for Cal Poly. So now, solid 15.
Yeah, you're rooting for Cal Poly.
Which I'm not going to say they're bad because Omaha beat them earlier in the year. But they're all of a sudden, they've won a couple of games, and they're into the semifinals of the conference tournament. Let me ask you this from the Omaha perspective. Is there a chance they could get to the next line up, or are they locked in at 15?
Be really hard.
Okay. All right.
Because Wolford and Robert Morris have already clinched bids.
Yeah.
So they're stacked behind them, so they can't really move up that way. Again, you would need who else haven't we clinched a bid? Well, yeah, like Cal Poly.
So what about Yale?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that would knock down. I don't, to be honest with you, I haven't really dug deep into the Ivy League and the rest of the Ivy League.
That's fair. I've just watched a lot of those conferences this week.
Gary has turned into mid-major genius over the last 8 days because of the stakes it holds for Omaha.
Hey, ask me about Robert Morris.
Gary,
just tweet at Rocco Miller and you'll get all your mid-major answers you want. Man.
I was talking
that dude covers the mid-major.
I was talking about all the bets I have for the Power 5 yesterday. And Gary was just throwing in different mid-major tournaments that he's going to be watching that he likes the odds on.
Here, let me tell you about the Ivy League, okay?
Yale's good this year.
Yale's very good.
Yale has a good basketball program for a while.
Yeah.
Learned that a long time ago. There was an early game. Yale was playing somebody, and I was texting Lenardi. I go, well, Princeton's getting points here. And he goes, Yale's pretty good. No. Well, you'd have to have like Brown or Harvard win. Otherwise, it's not going to move the needle for you.
Okay. All right. So one more thing on Omaha, because we're looking at 15, and there's projections of a Tennessee or a Michigan State could be an opponent. What about the site? Wichita, you could get more fans. Cleveland, maybe nicer hotel.
And nicer flight.
So how will this factor in? If Omaha's a 15, there definitely has to be a 2 in Wichita. Where would you think, and where do you have in your most recent Omaha landing? What
sites is my game.
Okay.
I'm an expert at sites.
That's what it says on your resume.
I've got, a guy in High Point, North Carolina, texts me about every half hour.
Good morning, Coach Huss.
Yes. We're going.
What's up, Alan?
We're going with, I thought Wichita was a lock until Montana beat Northern Cal.
Nice.
Hey,
sharp.
Way to go, Grizz.
So now there's 2 Clevelands in the second line.
Okay.
Cue Tiger Woods meme with Gary Sharp's head on it.
There's also now you get all those schools, the Robert Morrises of the world. So I have them on the 15th. So you got
never.
This one's not updated. So I have Robert Morris, Bryant, all Midwestern, Southern, Eastern schools. So that's why originally Omaha had a lock into like Wichita or Denver or wherever, but now looks like very well they could be against Alabama in Lexington. What's wrong with that? Besides Alabama, but who the hell you're going to play somebody?
I mean, that'd be pretty cool. Your first NCAA game is at Rupp Arena. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to play somebody tough anyway. Tennessee, Michigan State.
Alabama might be the tough.
Would you rather play Michigan State?
Don't want to play Houston.
Well, you're not going to play Houston.
Would rather play Michigan State.
You're not going to play Houston.
Well, I know that.
Now, the last 2 seeds up for grabs, I got Texas Tech in there. St. John's is the wild card. I heard you guys talking earlier. They're kind of the wild card here because let's say they win today. That'd be 29. Let's say they even lose the championship. 29-5. I mean, 29 wins, and you're not going to put them at 2.
Tim, I want to hear your perspective on it, because Gary kind of brought it up, and I agree. It's like they're damn good and they win. Why isn't there this conversation of like, holy crap, they're actually like national title contenders as opposed to the other 1 seeds? What is stopping that convo from happening? Why is it I got a seed in the tournament type deal?
The first thing is going to stop it, because you can't shoot free throws like they do and shoot the ball like they do, and you can't have them going all the way. I mean, from the outside, and I'll tell you, we did our mock selection last week, and from the outside, those guys were all like really high on St. John's, and they in their perception, St. John's just dominated the Big East. And I told them, I said, if you look at those games, every game was a 2-3 point game that they played against these top teams. So it's not like it was a domination. And
Sure.
I don't think anybody, other than their defensive prowess, nobody's scared of playing St. John's. In fact, they say, wow, St. John's doesn't hit shots. We got a real chance here. But the biggest problem with St. John's, just from a bracketology standpoint, is they just don't have a lot on their resume. They didn't play, they lost to Baylor and Georgia.
Yeah.
Other than that, their next best non-conference game was New Mexico. Now, a good team.
Sure.
But, the Patinos had to play each other. And then their other non-conference win in quad 1 and 2 is Kansas State, who's not in the tournament.
Yeah.
So they've got, wins against Marquette, Marquette twice, UConn twice.
Creighton once.
Xavier, yeah. Creighton once, but Creighton's a tier 2 win, so a quad 2 win. So
that is
well, that's actually hurting Xavier.
Right.
Yeah.
So, overall they've won 15 games in the 2 quadrants, but only 5 in quad 1. So when you compare their resume and you flop it up against the SEC, in quad 1, you see about 25 games there, so that's kind of an eye thing maybe. So I think that's the big question, is what's the committee, where are they going to put St. John's? But I think, you can pick apart all these teams. Like Texas Tech has not a very good non-conference strength of schedule. They have those 3 terrific road wins. That's what's boosting them, giving them an edge. But then you've got, now A&M lost yesterday, so I don't think they're going to have enough to get there. And obviously Iowa State's not. So Kentucky's the other one everybody likes, because they have a ton of high-quality wins. But are they going to stack the field with that many SEC teams at the top?
So let's keep it local a little bit. Creighton had a scare yesterday, but they end up pulling out the victory against DePaul. Are they kind of just locked in 8-9 right now, or do you think a Big East championship could propel them to 7? Or is it just depends on whether they're wearing the white or blues when it comes to their first round?
No scare. They had it all the way. Trying to think. That was in our post.
God, you'd be a terrible card player.
Post-game show last night, we were thinking like, what was the greatest? Where does this rank with the greatest comebacks? The only one I could pop into my head was they were down 25 to Wichita at the MVC quarters, and they came back with the Booker Woodfox shot. But they were down 25 like with 16 minutes to go.
Sure.
I mean, they're down 11 with 2 minutes to go.
Yeah.
So, I have them on an 8 right now. They're the last 8.
Okay.
We'll see how things roll out. How far are you going to drop Kansas?
Sure.
Got Kansas at an 8 right now. I've seen people drop Kansas to a 9.
Ooh, that would not go over in Larry World.
Wow.
Well, 8-9, you're just wearing a different colored jersey.
Here for the message board meltdown.
Well, but when you're an 8-9, you also now start looking at who that one is.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, but that, like we've said all year, that bottom of the 5s all the way through the top line on the 9, they're all jammed together. They're all kind of the same team, and so it's hard to move up or down. And I mean, you're not, you're talking, when you get to 6 seeds for Kansas, you're talking Michigan, Marquette, St. Mary's, Memphis. I wouldn't put Kansas above any of those. Then you're going to the UCLA, Gonzaga, Illinois, BYU. You can't put Kansas above BYU.
And that 7 line, I mean, the teams that you just named are playing pretty damn good basketball right now.
So that gives you great, and then you got UConn and Creighton at 8s, and I think the sentiment would be to move UConn up somehow. So
I like your matchup rematches.
So explain here. You've said this many times. We're Friday. The committee is in Indy. The bracket's announced at 5 o'clock on Sunday. We got conference tournaments going on. How much of the bracket is set right now, and why isn't conference tournaments have more meaning?
Okay, first of all, conference tournaments have meanings. Oh, speaking of Orange, there's the Syracuse boys calling me. So they want some love from me.
They heard me. I'm sorry.
For what?
For what?
No,
For what
they have me on every
broadcasting.
year. No, the radio. The radio.
Are you going to get an honorary degree?
Every time I go on there, they're just like,
it's the only thing they're good for.
We wish
there.
we were talking about us, but we're not. You know.
You're interviewing Kyle McCord.
First of all, that's just a myth that they take it all into consideration.
Are you protecting the committee, or are you being truthful here?
Totally honest.
Okay.
They take it all into consideration. Here's what fans do. That one tournament game is one bullet point out of 30, 31, 32, okay? Fans just go, oh, my God, that was a tournament game. That's got to count for 10 times as much. You know, how come this team's up or down or whatever? But it's not. The committee takes one bullet point. I saw Dan Gavitt the other day, yesterday morning, actually. So, you know, he made a big point. They were starting seeding, and he made a big point to go, this is just our initial seeding. We go through this about 3 times and scrub them. So people understood that they do take the games into consideration. I did not check this morning. Well, they haven't released it this morning, but going into yesterday, they had put 26 at-large teams in the field. Okay. So that's about what, middle of the 7th seed. They had 18 on their initial ballot, got in. They have 26, so they did two rounds of putting teams in the field, and then they were going to start seeding. So they probably got a couple seed lines done. They were going to continue seeding, yesterday morning, and then jump into putting more teams in the field. But they did their schedule. They released their schedule a couple days ago, and they're not going to do the last 4 teams in. They're not going to work that until late Saturday. So they are giving everybody a chance. And then, you know, you got to figure you got to give Mark Coyle a chance to get back from Minnesota after he fires everybody. You know, that I still got to read up on that. I don't know how that whole thing came down, because I was thinking about that, because this discussion came up with we had Joe Lenardi on our Reveal mock show. He came on for a little bit, and he's like, look, those commissioners, they're on their phone. They got stuff going on.
Yeah.
You know, he rattled off the 4 or 5 instances in the past, and here it happens again. I guess Mark Coyle got done with the committee, jumped on a private plane, went back to Minneapolis, and fired him late at night.
Yes.
And then took the plane back to.
Yes, because he was already there and watched him play while he was working and doing 2 jobs. Yes, that's what he did.
Yeah. So, you know, you got to play that in. Some of these ADs are kind of distracted.
They're all over
what
the
if
place.
there's a fire in their gymnasium or what?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there could be all kinds of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Sure.
That could distract them when they're on the committee. So that's kind of weird. But anyway, so today I would say they're going to probably have the field filled through 40-ish, 42. And really, I don't think that maybe you get down to 40. Maybe that's a little bit iffy, but the ones before it everybody knows they're going to be in, right? So, and then they'll go back to seeding.
You can parlay this into just the general bubble talk, but I am interested. You talk about the conference tournaments. Because the bubble is so weak this year, do you think that these conference tournament games mean a little bit more in this instance than it has in years past, because there's just so much volatility there at the back end of the tourney?
I would love if they did, but they'll mean the same.
The same?
It'll
Okay.
be the same as a game in the middle of November. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then your last 4 in at this point. Just let's get it and let's dive into it. I know it's tough. I know.
So,
One thing we know about Tim is he loves the ponies and he likes talking about bubble teams.
Yeah.
Just like the pony. Oh yeah. Because you saw me at the Kentucky Derby thing once. No, actually, we still do that. We still try and go.
Okay.
Watch the Derby. Know nothing about it.
Hey, don't feel shame about loving the ponies. There's nothing better than the
about
ponies.
it at all.
Yeah, exactly.
I posted on my Twitter thing yesterday with our bracketologist. I'm like, at the Xavier Marqueco.
Yeah.
I go, ooh, kind of a huge shot there at the end of the game, because that covered the
Yes,
point spread,
yes,
right?
that was a bad
Hell
beat.
yeah.
That was a bad beat.
Unfortunately,
I
I
my
bet the money
bracketologist
line.
minds. The one guy goes, do you think that just cutting it from 5 to 2 would have that big of an effect on the metrics? And I'm like, oh, well, you're totally missing it, dude. Anyway, so going into yesterday, I had San Diego, Indiana, Xavier, and Boise.
Oh Lord.
Okay?
Wow.
Oh,
then,
Lord.
so Xavier probably now doesn't have a chance, unfortunately. I don't think they do. They just only have that
One quad win.
One quad one win, and yesterday would have been huge.
They're playing so well.
Okay,
too.
but you compare them to North Carolina, they only have one quad win. But now North Carolina, because of their preponderance of wins,
Mm-hmm.
I think is kind of maybe got edge past Xavier on that one quad one win
They could
thing.
get a monster one today.
They could, and they could win the whole damn tournament now. So they're kind of out of it, right? Boise, of those teams, Boise was the only one that won, right?
Yeah.
So I probably have it right now, and I had San Diego. Then I updated it, and I had San Diego actually after I did my bracket. I had San Diego State just out of the playing game, but still an 11th seed. So they were kind of out. So now we're probably looking at as the last four: San Diego, Indiana,
Wow.
Texas. No, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Boise would be the fourth team in. They're the best shape.
So
Boise, Indiana, San Diego, and Texas.
Wow.
Bob wants to know, he is a Ram fan living in Omaha. 8 straight wins for Colorado State. Mountain West Semi. Win over Nevada. Does it get it done for Colorado State?
Win over Nevada does not get it done.
Okay.
They are one of the few. North Carolina, Colorado State. And if San Diego does not win the Big West, those would be the only three I see right now that have a chance to move up into the field. Colorado State still has a very big chance, but today is a monster game in the Mountain West.
Does right now who's your number one overall seed, and does the Cooper Flag injury affect anything in terms of what the committee looks at in terms of seeding?
I would not think so. I would
Okay.
think it kind of would end the talk of Duke overtaking Auburn.
Okay.
I don't think it would mean anything. You know, everybody's throwing out Kenyon Martin, but he broke his leg. Like, he's out.
Sure.
Right? I mean, Cooper Flag technically could play today. You know, we don't know. Right? He probably won't.
Yeah.
Maybe
So
agents get involved and go, hey,
Yeah.
let's shut this down for a while.
Yeah.
So I don't think that would affect it. But Auburn is clearly, they're going to be the number one overall. Then it's Duke pretty solidly. Then a little gap to Houston.
Okay.
Then another little gap to Florida. Pretty solid last number one right now, although you have Alabama kind of nipping at their heels.
So that was my next question. Could Alabama get in if they win? Would they have to win the conference tourney to
Probably.
get? Okay.
Yeah, and there would be a discussion, certainly. Tennessee's kind of in the same boat. I put them a little back. I don't think Michigan State has a path to get by all those SEC teams.
Okay.
And then the big debate comes Texas Tech or Kentucky really right now for that last number two. And St. John's.
Yep.
Okay, those three.
Good win by Kentucky.
The Big Ten teams are just – we could have 4 Big Ten teams in all 4 seats. I have 3 right now. Most people have 3. Now we got to figure out what to do with Arizona. That was a big win for them last night. So they're just outside. They could move in.
14 SEC teams?
No, 13.
Okay.
13's pretty solid right now.
Okay.
Is the one you have Oklahoma in?
Oh, you're right. 14.
Yeah, it'd be 14.
I'm not counting Texas.
If you have Texas in, it's 14.
Yeah.
Whoa. 14 of 16.
Wow.
That's not bad. Greg Sankey will be pretty happy for a basketball conference. All right. I read your bubble thoughts yesterday on Bracketville. Dave just came out with his bracket impact games. It's another great day of hoops. What else will you guys be doing between now and 5 o'clock on Sunday and then post when the bracket comes out, where you guys all say, hey, I was 99.6% right?
Well,
where you make your resumes for next year.
You go to Bracket Matrix for people that aren't familiar. They have a payment system. You get 6 points if you nail it on the correct line. You get 6 points. I'll just do it this way. They have 6 points. If you're off one line, you get 4.
Okay.
If you miss it by 2, you get 3, and if you just get the team in the field, you get 1. So, if you miss it by 4 lines,
really?
So
max is 386 then.
Max
in terms
is 408.
40. Oh, you gotta count the other 4.
You got to go all the way down.
68. Yeah.
So 408's the max.
I just get 64 there.
It used to, if you hit 350 back in the day, oh man, you're smoking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I took 6 overall one year and hit like 340. Now you hit 350 and you have a horrible year.
I love that there's a competition amongst the bracketology guys to figure out.
So then on Banner Brackets, where the top 20 bracketologists are, we think that's not fair enough because you could, well, seriously. So let's say you could have a team be the last number 2 seed.
Yeah.
And you could have them the first 4 seed. Well, you're missing
right there.
You're missing 3 points on the payment system, but you're only missing about 5 seed lines.
Okay.
You know, so that's not that far off.
Sure.
So we give you points 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 down. If you're 5 up, you get 4 points. So that's an additional thing. And then we throw in to force people to actually do a bracket, what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
You get bonus points if you have them in the right region, the right site.
I like this.
I love the analytical breakdown of something so niche.
When you add our points to it, it's there's 1,000.
Yeah.
Perfect scores 1,000.
Okay.
Okay.
That's sick.
All right. What time will you drop your final bracket? 4:45.
What time will
the Big Ten will get over about 4:30?
What time will Memphis clearly show us that they're not going to or going to win? We'll probably have. It depends on where Memphis. If Memphis is out, let's say losing the semifinal makes it easier. Then you can go either or. You know, whoever's in there.
Sure.
You got to have it into the bracket matrix guy. You got to have it into him by like 4:45. He will pull it from your site. It just has to be time stamped.
Okay.
So this year I control my site a little more.
Yeah.
I got to enter it the last few years with the stadium. I sent it into Mark, and then Mark would enter it into the thing.
Yeah.
Now on Twitter.
Now you got hand on the button, right? Now it's yours.
So
I love that.
I think I'm a little bit ahead of the game. You know, I don't obsess over the rankings anymore. You know, it is what it is.
You used to though.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm kind of with Dave's the same way. He's like, look, there's so many guys now that just go through bracket matrix.
Yeah, it's not what it used to be.
Take the consensus and turn to like 8 brackets and go, oh, look at me, I'm a genius.
What was worse for March Madness? More people being in bracket matrix or more teams being in the bracket?
But you mentioned what we're doing, so hey, can I plug something?
Yeah,
plug it. Sunday night.
Your show.
Sunday night, 7:00 down at Let It Fly. You can either location. It'll be on live.
Oh,
we're doing a selection show type thing. You know, post selection show, breaking down the teams, breaking down the local teams, their draws, and then also giving you some tips on the bracket, so forth.
Okay.
They'll have all kinds of things going on there.
I look forward to it, and we'll get you back in on Monday.
Can't wait.
Sounds good.
All right, TK Brackets on Twitter. It's Bracketville. There's great stuff there. This is what your partner said, Dave, today about the Connecticut Creighton game. The winner gets a leg up on the 8th seed with the potential to get back into the 7th seed line on Saturday. The loser feels likely to end up in the 8-9 scenario. So you guys are in lockstep.
That's correct, Dave.
That game is at
Good
8
job, Dave.
o'clock tonight. That's Tim Krueger. Good luck to everybody out there with your brackets. We'll be bracketeering here in 2 days. We will give you an opportunity to win tickets because there is a bracket that involves an Omaha team before Sunday. Omaha Hockey has North Dakota at Baxter Arena. It is North Dakota. That's enough said. There are very few tickets left. The only tickets that are left actually belong to us, and we're going to give you the opportunity to win.